the swather out of the grass. It's been 3 years since it's ran, so I'm gonna see if it still goes round and round.
We have 2 swathers for parts because this swather, all the parts for it are obsolete. Well, not all the parts. Person can get some parts, but the major parts are obsolete. So this one is more put together. And then we have one in the yard that Glen parted out for a dozen eggs. He got that swather in the yard. Pretty good trade. First thing we got is a flat tire on this girl that we're gonna use. So we're gonna swap out the tire for the swather we just looked at here, so we can move it, get it out of this tall grass. What we're gonna do is we're gonna hook up to the swather with the truck and just drag it out of this grass. Glen says he's never done it before, but here we are. It's got her in 4-wheel drive. We'll see if we can get it pulled through this tall grass. Might take a couple of cracks at it. Or not. Just got to get the grass laying down. Alrighty. There she goes. One of our tires is bad on the swather, so we're going to take that inside one. Glen's going to take these 2 bolts out of here, jack it up, and then these tires will swivel so you can get at this better tire here.
need to put on. That sounds like it needs some wheel bearings. In there, if I can get it. This thing goes here. Set the jack, and then we can put the tire on. I think when we put this in here, once this is on here, we can hook it up to the tractor. It's going to wiggle around almost. If I remember right.
That's a problem when you don't use something for 3 years. Your brain gets a little bit soft in the how does it work department. And I've never actually done it, so the newbie doesn't help. Gonna work if it's on backwards. No, it's not on backwards. Circle. Okay, just like that. These jacks that come with the thing aren't tall enough to get the tire on in transport mode. Thank goodness it's a little cloudy now. Gosh, it was so hot earlier. Sweating bullets. And then nothing wants to work right. Guys ever notice that?
Got the swather in the yard today, checking it over. One of the rollers was running warm when it got put away, so I knew I needed to fix that before I got started. So I got a roller pulled off. I'll have to go for bearings. I'll show you what that looks like. It's the roller that runs the canvas. It's got a hollow shaft on the inside, and there's just a couple of bearings on each end, and there's a hard plastic cup that the bearing sits inside, and then this runs inside in here. So I pulled one off of the old swather because when the bearing went, it took the plastic out of the other end, so I got a spare roller here apart and another one on the swather if I need it. But yeah, I'll get some bearings and put that back together. I got it lubed up. I don't have the that one roller in there, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to try and just turn everything over here by hand to make sure everything's going to turn before I put it under power. Everything's turning pretty easy. That reel belt might be older than me. I need to tighten up the chain. Bearings on this shaft like to go, so I'll have to make sure that they're not running hot. I gave the wheel bearings a quick pack and tightened up some chains. And when you tighten up these chains here, you got to take all the stress off of these bearings on this shaft and make sure there isn't any undue stress on it, otherwise take the bearings out. There was a pin missing out of this pulley, so we got a bolt in there and set the tension on the bearings in there. Seems to be running nice and smooth without the belts on it, or the canvases on it. Once you get the canvases on it, it's pretty noisy, but well, that's the next thing to do. Next job is to put the canvases on. They run like a big belt that takes the crop from the cutting bar and drops it down the middle of the swather. They're a rubberized canvas with slots on them, and you gotta lace these tails here, go in underneath this bar, get tightened down. We take them off every year at the end of the season because they just weather and get rotten if they're stored outside. So end of the season, when they're dry, we put them in the shed and put them back on when we start again. So we loosen this bar off. You can see the gap there. And then I can do this with one hand. These little teeth on the canvas. Get pulled up like that, and then everything gets tightened down. There's the canvas installed. You want the screw heads facing in the direction of that everything's moving. These kind of flop around when things are turning, and that's what makes a bunch of noise. But now for the other side. at the end of the day, you always loosen off your canvases.